Well, joining us in the live lounge now is Pete Thomas from JAG-Rotax, the importer of the Rotax engines here in the UK. Pete, welcome back to the live lounge. Second appearance in 2 out of 2 so far.
2 out of 2 so far.
It was great to have you in last year. There has been some changes in the last 12 months, so very important, I think, that we got you guys back. Rotax is very much a big part of Kartmasters, numbers-wise in particular. We'll get into that, but first of all, talk us through some of the changes that we've had here, which means now that we have 4 classes here this weekend.
Well, we've lost the traditional, what was last as mini max, and we now have micro max, which is basically a cadet size engine, and we have the Intermax, which is sort of between the cadet version and the junior, where we had it on a bigger kart. That's now on a 950 chassis, so it looks very similar to a cadet, but it is an Intermax. Less restricted than the Micromax engine, but fundamentally all interchangeable, as most things are with the Rotax product. You know, when we go from junior to senior, it's the barrel. We have different restrictions on the exhaust and the squish height. So most things are interchangeable, really. With very little fuss, you can convert the engines.
Very much an influence, I guess, from how things are being run in Europe. Would that be correct?
Yeah, we are now, other than age, we are very much in line now with the classes in Europe, which is great. We had recent success out at Le Mans, which I'm sure you're probably going to touch on, and our drivers used to go out almost as guest drivers because we used to qualify for that here in a slightly different way, but now that's a genuine class here. We can go out and compete for landing.
Yeah, well, let's touch on the European and world success. We'll start with the European stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned that would have been the international trophy.
Yes, very recently. Yes.
Tell us how the British drivers and
they did exceptionally well. We won the senior as we have done in the past, but we won both the micro and the interclass as well. So that was a first. For us to go out there as drivers that are racing fully for the year and during the championship. And they've gone out there and shown everybody how to do it, basically.
Yeah. And as a nation, very much dominating Rotax around the world, I think, is the United Kingdom. First time in a little while, actually, out in the Rotax Match Challenge Grand Finals last year that Great Britain, as a team, won the Nations Cup. And tell us how that was for you, standing out on the podium.
That was fantastic. Obviously, British drivers, not a clean sweep. We don't have any electric drivers, but in the traditional powertrain, we had great success before the classes. It was great to see. So obviously, as you say, the Nations Cup was won, not for the first time. When you look at who's coming through, who has already qualified for the world, some of these junior drivers have come through from the Le Mans race. Again, we go to Bahrain with a very, very strong team again.
I mean, so going back to Portimao there, I mean, the grand finals, Henry, the voice of that, and I think he's correct in saying that is one of the biggest races in the world.
Oh, it is. It is. Yes.
Similar to this one-off event, and that makes the racing always very intense.
Yes.
But it was DD2, junior, senior, mini. I think
all the electric classes,
all British drivers won those classes.
Yes, they did.
Filled the podiums and the top 10s as well, right?
It was fantastic to see. And there was a few stories. We had a lad that had hurt himself, burnt himself in the hotel, went off to hospital, came back and got second in class. He come back with his hands bandaged. Quite emotional, really, to see these, the kids at the end. We forget, 8, 9, 10, going out and giving it all, and it really meaning something. And with the senior drivers, it means something to people. You don't race all year and then go to a world final and take it lightly. It's a huge success for people, huge thing to have on your CV. As a driver, I was a world champion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have that privilege.
Yeah, no. Where do you think this success has come from then for Rotax? It hasn't happened overnight, clearly.
No.
So has this been a few years in the making?
I think it's been 25 years in the making, since the product really has taken off. Jag, John and Dean, obviously, and now Tina and Gary and everybody else that comes into that sphere to make things happen. The sealers is so competitive, yet it is so fair. If you look at the times, the qualifying times, I don't think the race has ever been closer, ever. Yesterday, we had seven teams in the first 7 positions. What does that tell you? Different engine builders, different chassis, different drivers. That's how fair it is. That's how the parity is there. We've strived for this for in excess of 20 years, and Rotax back at the factory with changing the cylinders and the development of the engine, it's made it fair. It's almost difficult to overtake sometimes because it is so close.
Yeah, and staying with European racing, for the first time in a few years, I think now, Rotax Max Euro Trophy coming back to the UK. It's going to be here, PF International, second weekend of September.
Fantastic news.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the drivers out there in junior, senior, we might see some of those just go in on a one-off basis. Right?
We have British drivers entering. Yeah, we have other facilities. We have the option to rent an E20 kart here at that round as well. Rotax and Jag are putting something in the budget to sponsor people. There is a ticket to the World Finals in the senior class only. So if people want to try the electric car and go to Europe, go to the World Finals in Bahrain, come up and put your ticket up and have a go, sort of thing. There is a chance to win a World Final ticket here in September and go to the World Finals.
And very much on a track they'll be familiar with as well. Let's wrap this up then by talking a little bit about the Grand Finals this year. Back at Bahrain. Very much under different circumstances.
Yes.
2020 was a tough year for all of us. Away from the sport. How's it going to be now, going back there this time? It's a great facility they have out there.
Huge facility.
Right next to the F1 circuit.
Hopefully very different to today's conditions when you look out the window.
Yeah.
I don't think the British contingent are going to have the benefit of rain to be used to. But it just seems our guys are so used to, a bit of elbowing and being able to adapt to different tracks. You find with a lot of the European drivers, they do go to one track and race at one track or two or three. British Championships, 5 different tracks. Then you come back to PF and to do the Kartmasters. I think our drivers are used to adapting, and the teams have setups. They seem to be able to go somewhere and adapt. And I think the teams side of that is a huge thing. When you've got our big teams going out with their own drivers, they can adapt and setups, and they're on that you can see it's evident. They're on that setup very, very quickly.
Is it going to be under the lights over there?
Yes, there'll be a night race as well, as it was
the
previous time.
The
atmosphere, we all know what it's like to watch Grand Prix on the television under the lights. It looks and feels 10 times faster. I think the drivers love it. Just for A, the experience, and B, it's nowhere near as hot, which makes it a little bit more pleasant. There's obviously the humidity. But again, our big teams, they go out and they adapt to this. They adapt to it, and credit to them as well. They've stayed with the Rotax product, been associated. Certain teams have driven the product. The drivers are heading those teams, and we're very fortunate in the UK. We've got a good band of brothers, shall we call it, and the travelling circus, long may it continue.
And hopefully we can bring back that Nations Cup trophy along with a few other big ones as well. And good to see as well the British Championship is very much becoming almost a second European Championship with the likes of Craft Motorsport and so on coming over. But I just want to quickly wrap this up then with our question of the day. Last year, I know we were talking about yourself racing with Chris Rogers. This time, so this time our question of the day is, what is your favourite Kartmasters memory pick?
Very difficult to pick out one in particular. I mean, I think this weekend, you could safely say at 6 o'clock packing up and going home would be after this weekend. But I think it's that whole thing. I think whatever class it is, I can't pick out a drive or a driver, but I think Kartmasters brings that thing. It's a one-off. It's evident in the last 3 laps of the race. If it's tight, you don't know who's going to win. Until that flag is dropped and someone goes over the line, you don't know.
Yeah. And we have a previous winner in Rotax racing a Mercedes Formula One car as well, who sent us a good luck message. So thank you to George Russell. Thank you to Pete Thomas. This has been the Live Lounge with JAG-Rotax UK.
Thank you.